My mom is a serial cheater. My mom has been continuously cheating on my dad ever since I was a baby. I'm 22 now, for reference. My parents' relationship was okay-ish in the beginning, way before I was even born, lol. Blah blah blah. Anyways, my mom is a serial cheater and has had multiple, definitely over 20, affairs since I was only a year or two old while my dad was at work in another province providing for us. Instead of taking care of me, she would be making out with another man on the couch, and the man would be the one to pay attention to me, playing with me, etc. Stuff my mom didn't do whenever they were over. She became a teacher when I was a kid, and ever since her first year working as a certified teacher she would have affairs with a colleague, different ones each year. My dad wasn't dumb and knew she was cheating this whole time, but she kept denying it and played stupid even though she knew he caught her multiple times throughout the last 20 years. For example, he always caught her sneaking off to take nudes for other men whenever we had our rare family moments together. She couldn't even pretend to be interested in us for those few minutes, lol. They both knew he only stayed because she constantly threatened that he would never see me or my younger sisters again if he left her. Now that we're all old enough, he's finally leaving her. In addition to this, multiple men have NSFW videos and pictures of her in their phones, and this is also humiliating for me because they send it to everyone they know. I'm positive some were leaked online this year. She thinks nobody knows, but literally everyone knows, and this makes even more men come to her because they all know that she will sleep with them as long as they give her the slightest bit of attention. She even slept with all of my dad's closest friends and his cousins and her best friend's boyfriend and all three of her sister's husbands. She disgusts me. I can never look at her the same again. I resent her so much for bringing me into this world when she already knew how little we would mean to her. I tell her this and she keeps crying and asking how she could win my love back. Sometimes I feel torn because we used to be so close. Even to this day, knowing that she was caught over and over again and is about to get served the divorce papers for infidelity, she denies everything my dad says to her. She denies until he shows her the proof, but even when she gets shown proof she just quietly walks away and leaves for a few minutes before coming back and acting like nothing happened. Today she accused my dad of texting another girl and all I did was laugh loudly in her face. I can't wait until the divorce is finalized so I can move in with my dad and never see her again. Story 2. Moving on to divorce. About 2 weeks ago, I found proof that what I suspected was an EA had turned into a PA. It made me sick to read their messages to each other about doing teenage things. And proof that my STBX had been lying about it the whole time. I told my therapist, who is also her therapist, and our MC, I know this isn't a typical setup, but it does have some surprising benefits if the therapist can manage it, and processed it for a week, and decided that I needed to make the decision. So I set up a special session with the MC, so I wouldn't get sidetracked, and so she could have some support, and confronted her. I think I'll probably always remember the script I used. Straight to the point, you've been cheating on me, and lying to me, and that's no foundation for a marriage. I'm here to negotiate the next phase of our relationship, which will be amicable co-parents. You're no longer welcome in the master bedroom. She was in shock for a while. For some reason, she didn't seem to think that her actions could have consequences. I left the session then because I wasn't needed, and more discussion wouldn't have been productive in her mental state anyway. Even though I knew what happened was the most likely outcome, it still hurt like hell for her not to fight for me. Not to apologize. Just to take it. Anyway, we're working on our divorce now. And it really will be for the best. There's been a lot about our relationship that hasn't worked well for a long time. There was a lot that did work well too, mostly about the kids, and we both realized that we've needed this for a long time. Hurts like hell now, but opens a door to better things. I don't forgive her. I won't rug sweep this or lie about what happened. But as we are on track for an uncontested divorce that is so far seeming favorable to me, I see no reason to broadcast what she did. And I'm ready to move on. Not necessarily to a new relationship, but to the next phase of my life, not in orbit around her. Story 3. Reading through messages from 2 years ago was tough. You will be okay. Her cheating and breaking up a 7-year relationship was the hardest thing I ever had to go through. I never reconciled. I never got answers. I never even knew the guy's name. Would it have helped if I did? Who knows? I just know that I made it out the other side. Just about. You will be okay. I remember my 50-minute commute to work and 50-minute commute back every day. I would replay so many scenarios in my head about what may have happened. I was playing such mental gymnastics with myself that I genuinely think I was going slightly insane. I didn't know it at the time, but I was definitely not in any fit state. Strangely, these commutes became like self-therapy for me. I would listen to sad music. I would tell myself I am going to be okay. I would support myself in a way I never have before. You will be okay. I would sit in my room, lying on the bed on my phone as the screen lit up my face in the black. I would watch her WhatsApp status to see when she was online. Hoping, praying that I would see, is typing and would finally get answers. An apology. A heartfelt acceptance that you had tore up someone's life. It never came. It became glaringly obvious it never would. You will be okay. She would message me and tell me she was sad. SHE was sad. Telling me about her breakup playlist songs but never actually telling me anything that I needed to hear. Making conversations that skirted around the gigantic woolly mammoth in the room every second of my being. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't play this game anymore. You will be okay. I remember telling her that I was done. That if she ever needed anything I would be here, but for now I needed to go and do my own thing. This limbo was hell. Literal hell. I told her to speak to someone professionally when she told me that she doesn't think she will ever forgive herself out of the blue one day. I told her I wasn't the right person to help with that and that. I was proud of myself. We haven't spoke since. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do. You will be okay. For me, it is the realization that people, no matter how close they may seem, can turn in an instant. I wouldn't say I don't trust people anymore, but that feeling that people can do horrible things to the ones they love hits me quite often, and it just makes me sad. Story 4. Ex-wife acting strange. My 30M ex-wife, 30F, has been acting strange lately. Backstory: she cheated on me 4 years ago and then I caught her cheating again 9 months ago. We separated back in February and divorce was finalized in July. I started talking to someone else from May to the end of July and I thought it was going well, so I had her meet my son and I let my ex-wife know that I was going to have her meet him. We have a 2-year-old son that we share custody of. So my son's birthday was coming up and she wanted to do something together. I declined since I already had something planned with my family and I thought it would be uncomfortable if she was there. She talked me into doing something with just her, my son and I for him on his birthday, which I agreed to. A week before his birthday I drove up to her parents' house. She lives with her parents now. I was going to pick up some food for my son and I offered to pick her something up as well. She took me up on the offer and stated that if I wanted to I could come inside and we could all eat in her room since her parents weren't there. I declined and said I was okay, but thanks for the offer. When I got to her parents' house she asked again if I wanted to come up to her room and eat and she could show me my son's room. I declined and headed out. 2 days before my son's birthday I went to drop him off at her parents' house. On my way there she asked if I wanted to eat dinner there. She brought up that her parents weren't there so it wouldn't be uncomfortable. I declined, and once again when got there to drop my son off she asked again. Declined again. We went out to eat for my son's birthday. He had a blast. During our dinner she asked me if I was still seeing that girl, which I told her I wasn't. She said sorry. I said it was okay. She told me that she ended up seeing a therapist and the therapist diagnosed her with borderline personality disorder and she said she was on some medication now, so a couple years back her sister told her she had this. Her sister has been seeing a therapist for a while and is a mess to say the least. My ex-wife, in my experience, would not have gone to see a therapist. To me it was a little fishy that just she stated that she has BPD and the second she said that I remember her sister saying that. Just too much of a coincidence. I think she's lying about the therapy visit and the BPD. But I don't see why, there's no point. 2 weeks later was my birthday. She asked if I was doing anything fun for my birthday and I told her I was just going to be working, and she said if I wanted to we could do cake and ice cream at her place. She mentioned her parents weren't gonna be home, and that our son would love it. I declined and said I would be too tired. She was texting me a lot lately, mostly about our son. But when it got off topic I stopped replying. I deleted all my social media stuff, and I was told by a mutual friend that she made a post about me saying I was such an amazing dad and he's so lucky to have a father like me. Like, I don't understand why she put that if I wouldn't be able to see it if she's wanting me to see it. As far as I know she's still in a relationship with her EAP that doesn't live in the state. Update, I, 30M, might be meeting my ex-wife's, 30F, emotional affair partner for the first time this weekend when I drop our son off. I don't know how to feel, I don't know how to react. We've been separated since February and divorce was finalized in July. They have been messing around for a few weeks when I caught her having an emotional affair. She visited him, he lives out of state, back in July right before our divorce was finalized. Here's the kicker. I think she might be pregnant. I have not been told anything, but I noticed that she has put on some weight recently. Back when we had our son, around that 3 to 4 month mark is when she started putting on weight. Plus I had this weird vibe when I saw her a couple weeks ago and noticed the weight gain. I don't know everyone, I just don't know how to feel. I was doing so good with my mental state. Even if she's not pregnant I still might be meeting him this weekend. A part of me just wants to say, oh, so you're the guy who ruined my marriage. Ex-wife came to pick up our son and AP was not with her. I had to work late one day and she dropped our son off with my father and AP was there. My father told me, apparently he looks very similar to myself. My father made a joke about my ex-wife having a type. And yesterday I dropped our son off and my ex-wife came outside to get him. So I didn't meet AP and I don't know if he's still visiting or what. But all in all it went good. So my ex-wife just dropped my son off and the AP was in the car. She handed me our son and said, oh, my boyfriend is living with us, with her at her parents' house, so he will be around our son a lot, is that okay? So with this new information make me wonder how long the actual affair was going on for, and my suspicions of her being pregnant might be true. I acted cool, just said yeah that's fine and mentioned what time I'll be dropping our son off and that was that. Kind of funny that when we had our son, we tried to move in with her parents to save money and it was a hard no from her parents. But they just met this guy last week and he's cool to live there.